You guys ready to talk spoilers? I know I am! So I saw Captain America Civil War for the second time last night, and oh my god, the movie is amazing on the second viewing. Not that I did love it the first time, but I loved it even more just experiencing it once again, and the movie was even better the second time, honestly. So you guys already know the plot to Captain America Civil War, so we're just gonna talk the pros and the cons, in my opinion, but go even more depth into those pros and cons for Civil War. So let's talk some Cap Civil War spoilers, shall we? Okay, so the thing that really got me into this movie, and even though the opening action sequence was absolutely amazing, seeing the fight between Crossbones and Cap was really freaking brutal, and just seeing all of them work as a team. Now the thing that really got me engaged with the movie was actually when they started arguing about, you know, should we put in check or not. Now that isn't to say that I didn't love the opening action sequence, because the opening action sequence was so freaking amazing, and so was the opening scene of this movie. It really made me think, who is it that Bucky killed in the beginning? Scarlet Witch is even bigger badass than she ever was in Age of Ultron. I mean, oh my god. And one particular part which I'll get to in a little bit, but Scarlet Witch, don't screw with her. The fight between Cap and Crossbones was really brutal at one point, seeing him just about to kamikaze himself, and then Scarlet Witch flings him up, and then he kills people. Sort of a Scarlet Witch herself. And you see the look in Scarlet Witch's eyes going like, oh shit, I should not have done that. But then we go to the thing that really drew me into this movie, the part that made me go like, okay, I'm officially in. And that was when Cap and Iron Man were arguing about, you know, whether the Avengers should be in check or not. With Cap saying, you know, agendas change, things change. And now says like, you know what, he has a good point, things do change. And then Tony Stark then says, that's a good thing, no, things should change. When, you know, when I was starting to, you know, give my weapons to the government, I automatically shut that project down. Then Cap said, yeah, but that was you that shut it down, not the government telling you. You knew what to do, not the government knew. And then he brings up the point that the Avengers unknowingly killed a bunch of people in the fight for Sokovia, as well as the fight for New York. That's one of the things I absolutely loved about Civil War, was the fact that all the consequences that happened in Winter Soldier, Age of Ultron, and even back in the Avengers was brought up to Civil War, and you could really feel that they were like, well, crap, I guess we did do all that. We couldn't have known that we were actually killing people. We were just trying to save the world, because that's what the Avengers do, is saving the world, avenging one person at a time. I know that's not the Avengers slogan, but I'm just going with this. And then Cap says, so alright, so what if we do go along with this? What if we get sent to a place that we don't even need to go, but we have a place that we do need to go? Like, what if we're helping out the bad guys instead of the good guys? Then as soon as I heard that, I was thinking, okay, I'm Team Cap. But the moment coming up is the moment where I actually kind of started to tear up, and that was when Peggy died. Now, I don't know about you guys, I loved Peggy in the first Avenger. I absolutely loved her, and I'm not gonna lie, I have a crush on Haley Atwell. I mean, who doesn't? She's absolutely gorgeous. And you know, I was happy to see her back in the Winter Soldier. Unfortunately, she wasn't married to Cap, but she got married to a person that would give birth to a girl that would become Cap's girlfriend in this movie, who's pretty hot. When I saw she died in her suit, I was just like, is it who I'm thinking it is? And then as soon as you see Cap carry the coffin, I was like, no, this can't be what I'm thinking it is. And then as soon as I saw Peggy's picture, I was like, oh shit, oh no. And then I started getting messy, and I started tearing up a little bit, because I loved Peggy. I thought she had a great attitude in First Avenger, especially toward Cap in that once where she tries to shoot through the shield. I thought that was absolutely hysterical. How about you guys? And then Sharon Carter brought up the point going like, compromise where you can, but if you cannot compromise, don't do it. Oh my god, the very first time we see Black Panther, holy crap, that was amazing. And there's one certain camera shot I gotta talk about, and it's when, you know, the camera's chasing after Bucky, and it just falls down with them. Even watching that last night, that blew my mind of how they accomplished that. And I looked at the B-roll, I would have never have thought about doing a camera move like that. I'm not gonna show you, but I'll put a link down in the description for the behind the roll scenes if you guys have already seen, you know, Civil War. But let me say this, it's so cool how they did that one stunt. I could not believe it. Seeing Black Panther and Bucky fight was amazing, and then seeing Cap join the fight, that entire scene was so damn cool, but what really made me go like, oh my god, was when you see that one motorcycle guy going right by Bucky. He knocks him off, and he grabs the freaking motorcycle, turns around, he jumps on it, and just goes away. I remember my brother Alex and I were going like, what? And then we see Zemo for the very first time, but what we see him before this scene in particular, the war where Bucky is being interrogated by Zemo. But seeing Zemo for the first time, I'm just like, oh, okay, so this has gotta be Zemo right here. And then you're trying to listen for his motivations, and you hear Empire Must Fall. And I assumed he was talking about the Avengers, but he didn't really give a clear-cut reason why until almost the very end, which I was thinking, okay, I get your reasoning, which I'll get to in a little bit. And then we see Zemo using those code words against Bucky, which turns him back as the Winter Soldier. And then Bucky fights Cap, a badass fight. He fights Iron Man, Black Widow, Black Panther, and I think he also fought someone else, but those are the ones that come to my mind. But he fought all those guys, and oh my god, but Black Panther kicked his ass. Black Panther's one formidable son of a gun, seriously. And did I mention that Chadwick Boseman kicked ass as Black Panther? If I didn't, I'm saying it right now because it was amazing. Then we get to the moment when Tony Stark tries to finally get Cap to sign, and he says, I can't do this, man. I was never going to in the first place, man. And then one of the best things about this film was the introduction of Spider-Man, or Peter Parker, by Tom Holland. We see this kid walking with all this equipment. You see a backpack, and I was thinking, okay, who is this kid right here? Then you hear Aunt May's name being spoken, and by the way, Aunt May, Marissa Tomei. My god. That's one attractive anime right there. The whole back and forth between Peter Parker and Tony Stark right there, that was so damn genius. And seeing Tony Stark kind of mess with him a little bit, seeing the goggles going, can you see out of these? And then finally he says, I'm gonna tell Aunt May. And then finally he uses the web shooters, and I remember I was like, oh shit. And he was like, don't tell Aunt May. She will go nuts right now. And then Tony says, just get me out of this, please. Of course, also Hawkeye's reintroduction was so brilliant. See him going against Vision. And this is the part I was talking about where Scarlet Witch just pretty much just nails him through like, looked like what, like 30 stories. This was the moment I was just like, Scarlet Witch is a force to be reckoned with. It wasn't the opening scene, but it was this scene. I just remember thinking, Scarlet Witch, you are amazing. Finally, we get the fight that we were about to see, or this was advertised in the trailers, which was the airport fight sequence, which I will say right now is the best fight in the MCU. Just how the Russos and the stunt coordinators, which by the way, the stunt coordinators were the directors of John Wick. I'm dead serious. The stunt coordinators for Civil War were the directors for John Wick, which explains why the stunts and the stunt work were absolutely incredible. The fight was full of heart, it was very witty, it was very funny, and there was a purpose for this fight going on. You could tell that Tony did not want to do this. You could tell, but he had no choice. That's what I loved about this scene. He didn't want to fight his friends. He didn't want to do that, but since Cap said, no, I'm getting Bucky out of here, whether you like it or not. And then you could just tell he's just like, you made me do this. Finally, Spider-Man comes in the best way. Oh my god, seeing that, I remember at my screening and even at the showing last night, there was a thunderous applause the moment he came on. Spider-Man's essence in this entire fight was amazing. I love the fact that he was just nerding out with seeing all these superheroes, seeing Cap going like, hey Cap, big fan, man. Just hearing his and Cap's, back and forth when Cap knocked Spider-Man down. He said, where are you from, kid? And he said, Queens. And then Cap was like, Brooklyn. Next to Spider-Man, Paul Rudd as Ant-Man nails it in the scene, especially when he becomes big. I had Spider-Man's reaction. I'm dead serious. I remember I was like, holy shit! Then when you see his eyes just lighting up, I was like, oh my god. And then you see Iron Man say, give me back my roadie. And of course, seeing Ant-Man throw away that was a water truck and he almost killed the roadie, and then he just says, oh crap, I swear to god that was a water truck. Ant-Man, I cannot wait to see Ant-Man at the watch at this point because Paul Rudd is perfect as Ant-Man. Seriously, he's so damn good. And the thing I liked about this fight was that there was no real victor, honestly. Everybody went home, and then of course Spider-Man is like, no, I can do this. He's about to stand up and he's like, okay, I'm done. But the thing that really caught me off guard the most was when Vision accidentally hits Rhodey. Rhodey says, Vision, I need your help. Falcon's on my back, turn him into a glider. And then, so Vision just looks and just shoots. Like, he doesn't even concentrate to aim, he just looks and shoots. And it made me think, that's probably not gonna end well. Falcon dodges it, it hits Rhodey right in the, the chest. He starts free falling, and I just thought, oh shit, oh shit, oh god, no, please catch him, please catch him. And then the moment he hits down, I was just like, ow, oh! But that whole scene was so damn great, oh my god. If you haven't seen this movie, well, why are you watching this anyway, so... Spoiler review for a reason, guys. Then afterwards, Tony finally goes up to Falcon, and Falcon asks him, is Rhodey okay? And then Tony says, I'm not here to fight, I just want to find where Cap is. And then he leads him there where Zemo also is, and then so Cap and Bucky finally go into this one room, and then Tony says, I want to choose here, your story this might be not so crazy after all. And then I love the Manchurian candidate joke. That was so brilliant for Tony's part to say that to Bucky. Then we finally see Zemo, and then we finally hear his motivation. It's like, the reason why I'm doing this is because you killed my family in Sokovia. I want to burn the Avengers from within. And he did this with one thing, and then we're showing the video of Tony Stark's parents' death. Now this is the part that I actually kind of did cry a little, because Tony's like, wait, I know this road, what's going on here? Then we see the car that we saw in the beginning crash, and I was just thinking, no. This can't be it right here. No. Oh, no. And then we see Bucky get out, and then we see Tony Stark's father and mother, and I just thought, oh fuck. No. Bucky punches his face, and I'm not gonna lie, I started crying right here. And then Tony's about to hit him, and then he just says, did you know, Cap? Did you know? And he was like, yes, I did. And then finally, just smacks the crap out of him, and then that whole psychological war starts. And that's the part of this movie I really love, because at this point, Tony does not care. He knows that Bucky did it. He's have to kill him, but he's trying to ultimately go after Bucky. And this entire fight was the most brutal thing I have ever seen in the MCU. The thing that made me go like, oh, that is cold, but you're kinda right. And that's when Cap, it looks like he's about to kill Iron Man. He's about to kill him, but instead goes for the chest piece, disabling his Iron Man armor. And then he picks up Bucky, he's about to leave, and then Tony says, that's not your shield. My father made that shield. And I'm just like, well, damn, Tony. He made it for Cap. But technically, you are right. And of course, the ending is great where Cap breaks out the Avengers, and I assume this was with Tony Stark's help. I love the middle credit scene, I love the post-credit scene where we see Spider-Man, seeing the Spider-Man logo. Such a brilliant post-credit scene, seriously. I cannot wait for Spider-Man Homecoming. If you guys remember, I had one con for Civil War, and that was Daniel Bruhl's Zemo. And it wasn't him in particular, or it wasn't his acting or his motivation, because you understand his motivation for wanting to burn down the Avengers from inside, and you understand, and he is a great character. He did a great job acting as Zemo. My only real flaw was that he was barely in the movie. He was maybe in the movie for, I think, maybe 5 scenes, maybe 6 max. And so, I would say the amount of screen time he has was maybe about 30 minutes or less of screen time. Hasn't changed the fact, I still love this damn movie. Captain America Civil War, and in particular the Captain America Trilogy, is without a doubt one of the best trilogies I've ever seen in terms of film, because Captain America the First Avenger was good, but it was also kind of a B-movie fun style film with World War II elements in it. Captain America the Winter Soldier grounded Cap and made him the coolest Avenger possible, while in Captain America Civil War, they brought together almost all the other Avengers and grounded them too, while also not only making it an amazing sequel to The Winter Soldier, and also a great sequel to Age of Ultron. And the Russo brothers once again knock it out of the park for the second time. Will they do it 2 more times with the Infinity Wars, which are no longer being called Infinity War? But we'll see how they do. But honestly, after seeing what they did with Civil War and seeing how they managed to weave together all these characters without making it seem forced, I am ecstatic to see how the Russo brothers take on, you know, the big all-out battle that the Avengers are gonna have to do against Thanos. I cannot freaking wait. After a long thought right now, because after seeing it last and after really thinking about it, Civil War is without a doubt my favorite movie of the year so far. And what I also did is that the Captain America trilogy is one of the few superhero trilogies that got better and better as each film got along. For me, this is right up there with Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. It's that good, guys. And if you haven't seen Civil War yet, well, good job, because you should have said before, because I just spoiled the whole thing for you. If you have seen Civil War, I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed my spoiler-filled review of Civil War, me going in depth to what I loved and to what the one thing I didn't like about it, or my one little nitpick is what I should say. Comment, let me know below, what was your favorite part of Civil War? Spoilers galore, guys. Go all spoilers. Let me know below. What was your favorite scene of Captain America Civil War? If you like the spoiler-filled review, please like, share, and subscribe to see more content from me. And, as always, until the next review, I will see you guys next time.